This is Oracle Daphne. My name is Beth, and I'm back today to record a special live recording for you guys. The topic today I'm going to be talking is about this upcoming Jupiter retrograde. I wanted to pull some tarot cards to see what I got. This is for all signs. And just to let everybody know, Jupiter is going retrograde July 28th. I had it marked down here at 4:37 p.m. East Coast time, and then it's going direct on November 23rd, 2022 at 6:02 p.m. So that's what we've got for this upcoming Jupiter retrograde. That's the dates. I kind of want to see if it's like a yay or nay, like if it's positive, negative, energies are for it, how it's going to be affecting people, how things might turn around for people, just to see, what the energies are. For those of you who are watching me for the first time, welcome to my channel, and I try to record when I can. I have had a lot of landscaping projects this summer and other things that have been going on, but I am still asking for donations. Any amount at this time is really, really blessed for me. If you donate, please donate through PayPal. I am letting everybody know also that all payments for readings and all donations need to go through PayPal. It's hard because I kind of got burned through Cash App, and I might consider Venmo, but I prefer PayPal, and that's just how I am at this time. So basically, if you wanted to get a private reading, I am scheduled private readings for later this afternoon and tomorrow. So if you wanted to do that, you would need to send a payment through PayPal, and then tell me, what time zone you're in and what time you're available. And I tried to, work around your schedule. After I record today, I plan to go outside and water my garden, and that's downtown. So I'm going to be unavailable for a couple of hours. The other thing too is, lately, this was brought to my attention. There's been a lot of stuff that's come up in the political realm that's kind of awakening people and opening people's eyes to the truth of certain things. And for my protection, I'm not able to discuss those. But it's not that I'm aware. It's not that I'm unaware. Like, I'm aware of it, but I'm not able to discuss those, and I'm not wanting to discuss those things. But I do, and I have noticed, especially on Twitter, that there's been a couple of things trending which I wasn't expecting to see. And that kind of gives me a sign that things are kind of shifting in a positive direction, where people are becoming awoken to certain things that maybe, the wool had been pulled over many of our eyes. Okay? Those of us who really didn't know, the full truth. And the thing is like, I always get signs from the universe when I'm looking, I'm recording these, because I look at people outside the window, and there's a man, he's probably middle-aged, and he's got this maybe 4 or 5-year-old son. He's a little boy, and he's walking very slowly with him. And I think that there's people that are just unaware of things because they're taking care of their kids. They're focused on what their kids are doing. They're focused on what their kids are eating. They're on a sleep schedule. They're on a feeding schedule, new moms, all that kind of stuff, where people are not really tuned into the truth of the situations. And so there's no judgment for me on that part. It's more of just, I have noticed, especially on Twitter, that there have been some things that have come out recently where there is an awakening, there's a shifting happening, and I'm very much aware of that. I wanted to say that first and foremost. And I was talking to someone recently, a fellow psychic medium, who's also a friend of mine, who's been a friend of mine for a long time, that it's very important, especially for light workers at this time, to actually pull inwards. I did a light work. I did a video for light workers. You know, like if you're watching this later in time and you're a light worker, maybe you work with clients, you know, whatever the case may be, it's important to pull your energy inwards, to watch where your energy is very much going, because it's important for the collective to really come up. You know, it's kind of like everybody kind of has to pull themselves up, whereas before it was in some way the responsibility of the light workers to kind of save the planet. That's the shift. I don't feel like it's the responsibility of the light workers any longer. I feel like that has shifted into a sense where the light workers need to take care of themselves. They need to work with maybe other light workers and kind of recharge their batteries and kind of shift perspective. Myself, it's been a big shift for me personally, the last 3 years, because obviously I've gone through a lot of stuff personally, but as a light worker, it's shifted my perspective of what's my responsibility. Is it my responsibility to save the planet? Is it my responsibility to convince somebody of something that they don't believe or they don't want to believe? Is it my responsibility to tell people what's really going on behind maybe the government or behind the pandemic or blah, blah, blah? And I've come to the conclusion that it's not my responsibility any longer to be a target. Let's just put it that way. And to convince anybody of anything. Like, I really have nothing to prove, and I'm not here to convince anybody of anything. But that, you know, that being said, I told my friend, I was like, even though I'm getting no views on these videos, and please give me a thumbs up. Please comment once it's been posted. It takes about a day or so for these videos to finish. But once it's finished, please check back. Please comment. It really helps. Even though I'm making nothing, I'm still not able to monetize my channel. And I don't have a lot of clients right now. And, you know, this is all this stuff that's going on. I told my friend, I said, I'm still feel very called to come on here and record. So being a light worker is doing what you're called to do. Being in a place at a time for maybe somebody else. Saying your truth, speaking your truth, being real, being authentic, and being there for other people, and being there for yourself. It's not necessarily just about, like, you know, saving the planet, saving the world, stuff like that. Okay, let's jump in. I'm going to pull some cards here. See what we've got. To me, it's a very intense, like, kind of hodgepodge of energies. There really is no story or consistent theme with regards to these cards. The majority of these cards are really positive. The interesting thing about this okay, so the interesting thing about this is the thing that's coming through very clearly is we have the Death card coming up in the immediate future, in the position of the immediate future. Now, I was talking about this card as far as, you know, it bringing change with it, usually in 2s or 3s. So change in career, change in housing, change in relationship, change in housing, change in relationship, housing, and career, you know, the trifecta of change. But I pulled some other cards. There's going to be a change in your sex life, okay, which is positive. A change in your financial situation, which is very positive because we have the Ten of Pentacles there. And then there's going to be a change in your housing. You're going to be moving away, potentially even out of state. Those of you specifically who live in Nebraska or Iowa, okay? Midwest, I'm going to say Midwest, okay? Nebraska, Iowa, Midwest, you are moving out of state. That is what I see, because you got both. This is the one card that represents Nebraska, because there's a cow. You see this cow on here? And when the card is like this, that means you're staying. And then the card is like this, that means you're going. And the card is in the upright position, which means out of state. To me, that's what I see. And we also have this card here, which you can see all those birds. This does have a very strong East Coast feel too, you know. I can't, was it Nantucket, Long Island? Where's the places? It's Nantucket, Long Island, Montauk. I don't know. There's all these places kind of in that area. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing New York City. I'm seeing that. But to me, this is East Coast vibe. So those of you who are the East Coast, you may be moving out, or like away from the East Coast. Or those of you who maybe who live in the Midwest, you're going east. To me, this is a direction of east. Some of you are going east, specifically if you live in the Midwest. Now, for those of you who say you live on the West Coast like me, this could indicate that you're just simply moving. I feel like your direction is actually north. That's what I'm seeing. North and maybe northwest. Maybe some of you are moving into the Pacific Northwest, or that's generally the general area that you live. I feel like some of you are going to be moving north. That's what I want to say, moving north. And there's like a lot of patience needed for this to come to fruition. Like some of you may be impatient for it, or there may be something about, to me, there's something actually about like around the harvest time. Okay. So maybe sometime in August, maybe even late August, September, even in early October, I'm feeling like when the pumpkins are ripe, I feel like that's potentially when you'll be moving. For some of you. For others, we've got the Seven of Pentacles, and you might not actually move until next July, okay? Because that's the 7th month, okay? So it's interesting because this is the energy here. This is the change that's coming. Now, does that mean, okay, so with Jupiter retrograding, does that mean some of you aren't going to be moving immediately, or some of you aren't going to be moving within like 3 months? You know, it's going to be different for everybody. This is a general reading. So if you want to know more about your moving situation, or if you have plans to move, or the energy around that, please book a reading with me. That way I can look at it specifically and tell you, you know, more about that. It's interesting that this is the catalyst. This is the catalyst of the Jupiter retrograde for most people. This is a catalyst. Some of you want to go away for school. Some of you are planning to go away for school. I do see that also. There's going to be a change in your finances too. I do feel, for, like I said before, for the better. Change in finances, very positive. It feels like this Jupiter retrograde is bringing in a kind of energy that's very different. That's very new. That's kind of, it feels very blue. And it's funny, I'm wearing a blue shirt today and I look really glowy. The light in here is like really funny right now, but it's yeah, it just feels very blue. It feels like, I'm just gonna say this, it feels like there's no struggle. It feels like whatever struggle that you have had, if there has been one, is no longer. It feels like, it's not like you're in a state of flow. It just feels like your circumstances, this Jupiter retrograde is going to change your circumstances. Like your whole life is going to shift out of the circumstances that you're in into something else. into something better. I pulled the Page of Swords, and the Page of Swords is being lifted up out of hardship. And the interesting thing is sometimes when I pull cards, when I say something better, a negative card comes out, and sometimes when I say something better, a positive card comes out. And this is a positive card. So that to me is confirmation that there's a shift happening. And though any of you that are watching that have any strong planets in Libra, okay, okay, so it's funny because I actually laid out 8 cards here, and I don't know why I did that. I think I wanted to get clarification on these last 4 cards of the spread. And the funny thing is that when I do reading for Libra, Libra always has 2 paths, 2 options, 2 choices. And I see these 8 cards as 2 paths, the Libra 2 paths. And I actually feel that even for Libra, both paths are excellent. And there is an element of fate here for some of you being at the right place at the right time. For some of you meeting a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo. The only thing that I will say is that when a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn show up, it depends, really entirely on who they are to you. I actually feel that this Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo person, I feel like it's a male energy, is very, I want to say the word peaceful. There are some of you that maybe have dealt with somebody who's not so peaceful, like Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo, that's not. And I don't feel like this is you. I feel like there's a Taurus, Capricorn, or Virgo person that's going to show up in your life that's going to maybe have children, or be very focused on their family. Taurus can be very focused on their family. There's something very comforting about this person. And I don't know why that is. Normally, I see that and I'm like, no. I do feel like for some of you, it may show up, this person may block you in some way, but I don't necessarily think that's for the majority. I think that's a very small percentage of you that's watching that where they would block you. This is, okay, the only way that they would block you is if they owe you money, or if you owe them money, or if there's some money involved. Or if this is some kind of situationship or a third-party relationship or a thing where, I don't know, you're kind of tied to them in some way. But, for the majority, I feel very positive. I pulled the Sun card also, so to clarify that, I do. For some of you, no. For some of you, that this is positive. For some of you, it's negative. Oh, okay. So I was gonna record the interesting thing that I was reading today for myself has to do with change. It has to do with how a lot of times we wait for things to change, but the change comes from within. Ultimately, the change comes from within, and that was something that is really hard for me to grasp. It's a concept that is really hard for me to grasp, but then the thing is that the change that comes from within helps us to realize that we can choose, and I wrote down 3 words: joy, freedom, or forgiveness. And this is going to be applicable for those of you watching at this time. To me, this is a very strong spiritual message. And for most people, it's kind of a little bit woo-woo, and it sounds a little bit like I'm not aware that there's gas prices that are fucking everybody real hard, and then I'm not aware that a bag of pretzels that I just bought was almost $5. I am aware that this shit is real deep out there, and choosing joy, freedom, or forgiveness probably is pretty hard for people at this time to do, and they don't even know. Can't even see straight. Like I said, that guy walking his child is just focused on that little boy. they're not focused on maybe the spiritual messages. Then maybe may not care about the spiritual messages. And maybe they're just trying to put food on the table and they're just trying to get to work and they're just trying to, have, a happy home life where, they can come home and they can feel like they can go to sleep at night. It's one of those things though that for those of you who are wanting to know like the deeper message, the spiritual message, and all of this is spiritual, but for those of you who have a difficult time with change and a difficult time accepting maybe that there's been obstacles in your life that have been challenging, and maybe have a difficult time accepting that that you've had to struggle for so long for some of you, or that you've had to go through a lot for some of you, and for some of you it's more of just like a mindset of choosing something that's not joy, right? Choosing something that's controlling or manipulating. Choosing something that's where you're holding a grudge, where you're not able to resolve things, where you're not forgiving somebody because you don't feel like they deserve it, or because you feel like for some of you, you're still very angry. And this is all really hard stuff, especially in relationships, but this is the stuff that blocks our development. It blocks our ability to change, because really ultimately when we choose joy, we are not choosing something else that brings us unhappy, that brings us sadness, that brings us like despair. When we choose like a relationship that sucks, that brings us despair. So we are choosing something that sucks. We are not choosing joy, right? When we choose, say, something that's controlling, a job to do it just to do it for the money, or when we choose a relationship that's domineering and controlling and manipulative and it's sucky, or that's out of integrity, then that's not choosing our freedom. That's choosing something that's not freedom. When we choose also to believe, and I'm just going to say this, when we choose also to believe, right, in lies, okay, in the lies that are being told to us every day, then we are also not choosing our freedom, because we are letting those lies continue to remain in the dark. And then when we are choosing to not try to get to resolution, to not try to find the middle ground, to continue to be angry when things have passed, or when where time has passed and life has moved forward, we aren't choosing forgiveness. We are holding a grudge. We're holding something. We're hanging on to bitterness. We've become bitter. And to me, the hardest part about forgiveness is letting go of that bitterness, is letting go of that anger. To me, I think the definition of forgiveness in the dictionary, last time I checked, was letting go of the anger. I'd have to look that one back up again. But I think I wanted to know, I don't know why I was looking at that, but I wanted to know, what was it that's important about forgiveness? And the thing that's important is letting go of the anger. And so many people, and I have to say this, the thing that scares me at this time is that people are going to become really, really angry at their friends, at their spouse, at the government, at people that they've talked to, at their experience, at their teachers, at their school systems, within their jobs. They are going to become really angry. And so anger, because of things that are going to become in the light as time goes on. As more time goes on, more stuff will come out to the light. And when that stuff comes out to the light, everybody will be very angry, and there will be need to be forgiving. And I will tell you something, before, and I talk about my dad a lot on this channel. I can't really go reading without talking about him. before he passed, you know, he and I had a conversation about forgiveness, you know, and he forgave me for things that I maybe stressed him out about, or, you know, anything that happened within our relationship that maybe, you know, wasn't so healthy. And that really, really meant a lot to me that he did that. And I think forgiveness is going to become like a bigger thing. And it is the way forward, is the way to healing our relationships. It's the way to healing our families and our friends after this whole crazy ride and experience that we have had. So the way forward is the joy. The way forward is the freedom. And the way forward is the forgiveness. Those three things, you know, are something to really think about for most of you. I do want to pull some just like last cards to see if there's anything else. There's gonna be some kind of lucky break happening for some of you. A real lucky break. I do see that. I do see, this is funny. Someone has the hots for you real bad. That's what I want to say. I don't know who's watching that, you know, maybe you wanted to know about a relationship. You're watching, you're hoping I'm going to talk about relationships, but there's someone that has the hots for you. I have to tell you that. It could be a female. It could be male. There's two cards that came together about specifically for those of you who are in a relationship. And relationships in general are really going to go over the next year or two. They're really going to go through a massive overhaul. Like, what's a relationship? What's important? It's going to become like a thing, okay? And it's funny because I said like a while ago that the thing that was going to happen that's becoming a thing is like this whole thing about what's comforting, what's safe, what's secure, like what makes us feel good. And like those little things that we buy, like those bath soaks that we buy are kind of a thing, you know? And the thing about relationship that's going to change is just like any kind of relationship where there's a lot of like maybe like trouble in paradise, you know, where you're fighting all the time, you know, you're unhappy. I think people are going to really realize like at some point that it's not really worth it to continue. If that's been a pattern. I do feel like some of you, maybe you got into an argument with someone and you actually realize that you're not on the same page, and some of you are going to break up in a peaceful way. You're going to say, you know what, we're not on the same page, and you're going to say goodbye to someone in a peaceful way. I do see that for some of you. It's weird. I say this in like almost every video, but if you're dating, let's just say right now you're dating, and like, let's just say you say goodbye to someone, you end something. I do feel like some of you are going to meet someone right after that's, going to be a significant partner very shortly after, and potentially someone that you marry. You might get out of one relationship and get right into another for some of you. There's a lot of peace within the next relationship. Let's just say like right now, the relationship you're in, say there's not a lot of peace. The next relationship, there will be a lot more peace within the relationship. I am seeing that. And job stability. I feel like job stability too. I see someone actually, okay, this is going to sound interesting. I see someone proposing and there being a lot of tears, like a lot, like it's very emotional. Like, of course, this pretty much happens, but it's kind of like it feels like one of those proposals where maybe you're like in kind of, you know, maybe you're at a restaurant somewhere and they pull out a ring and you're not expecting it. Like, this is one of the things you're not expecting to see. And of course, you know, I'm psychic and I'm telling you about future stuff, but like, you're not expecting maybe to see that someone's proposing. There's something about a proposal that you're not seeing. I do actually see someone going to a wedding. Maybe you're working a wedding or something like that. You might actually meet someone, like you might meet a future partner at a wedding. Talk about wedding crashes. Oh, this is funny. This is funny reading. Interesting reading. I'm just checking to see if there's anything I missed. So what is it like? What is it like the biggest thing that people need to know? Okay, there's two things that are coming through about this Jupiter retrograde. One is this energy of healing crisis and purging, like drama that leads to resolution. Recognizing what are the attachments that we have to things. Like, are we attached? Are we in an attachment? Is our relationship an attachment? What are we holding onto? What's most important for us to hold onto, whether it's physical objects or relationships or jobs, whatever it is that we're like clinging onto like really hard. Like, to me, this is this whole split. This is the beginning of this split that's happening. My God's showing me about people becoming really, really materialistic at going forward into the future, or people detaching from this need to be super materialistic in the sense that, like, yeah, you'll have material things. You'll have a car. You might have a bike. You might have a house. You have, property somewhere. You might have investments, but it's not like sure you're going to really see those things as being the most important things. The things that you carry and you hold on to are going to be things that are almost intangible. My guide's like saying intangible things. Like, it's very Piscean. The energy is very Piscean. It's very energy of letting it go, letting stuff go. It's very Piscean. And knowing what's important. It's like, my guide is showing me like, okay, so like on my phone, I have chats, conversations with people. Like, I don't really delete most of my conversations with people. And I've talked on this channel before about me and my experience that I met from Omaha, and I moved to Omaha and he passed. And he was 36. And I kept the entire conversation in this phone. I had like an old phone and I kept that conversation too. But like, I can still go back and reread our chats if I want to. And I still really cherish the things that we talked about and the interesting dynamic that we had, and the thing that's like most important, for you is going to be like, yeah, like a conversation that you had with somebody. It's going to be an old chat in your cell phone. It's going to be like a meaningful experience that you had. It's also very Capricornian too, because the Capricorn energy is about, learning where home is, carrying their home kind of on their back, kind of like a turtle does, going up the mountain. So it's, I don't know where I was going with that. It has this Capricorn energy too. And then the last thing is about helping other people out. And I can't tell you, and this is going to become something that I want to do more on my channel. I cannot tell you how stressed people are going to become. People are going to become very, very stressed. To the point where they have nothing. They don't have food because they can't afford the food. They don't have gas because they can't afford the gas. Maybe they're working, but maybe they can't afford to go. So it's like, then what do they have? This element of what do you have? This element of what's important, this element of needing help. I did post on my Twitter that I needed help with my tires. And a friend of mine helped with my front tires, and I still have to do my rear tires. So if anybody wants to donate and help with my tires, this would be the time to do it, because I need to replace my tires in my car. Helping other people out, whether it's, bringing them food, or whether it's giving them a gas card, or, a Visa MasterCard or whatever for $10 for gas. All of this is going to become really, really big. There's a reason that they just changed that there's a national crisis line to call, because people are going to have either this level of like blind enthusiasm that they can make it no matter what, and like realize that they don't have enough for gas to go someplace, or they don't have enough for food on their table, or they're going to be in need of help. Many people in need of help. And I've seen this already on social media, that there are many people that need help, that need the help with the basics. That maybe, are food assistants or housing assistants, and they need help with the basics. So that is going to become a thing. Asking for help, accepting help, giving help, being a good human being. This is the thing. It's very important at this time to have a better heart, a good heart. And the thing about it is that there are people that could give to others, but they don't. And then the people that would give to others can't, because maybe they don't have the money, or because maybe they're SOL too, I do want to say a special shout out to Sarah Rebecca. She donated recently, and I'm saying this to her. I don't think you're on here, but maybe you are. She donated recently. I don't know how long ago now. Not that long ago, and it was the nicest donation I have received, because it was like an SOL donation. It really helped me out. Wasn't a lot, but it really helped me out. And it was just so charitable. And honestly, it's beyond me. At this time, it's across the board. There are so many people that really just need the basics, and they're going to need more. I see people, maybe struggling for work, or struggling to find work, or find more work. There's going to be a shift, obviously, in career at this time. Like I said before in the beginning of this reading, the Jupiter retrograde energy to me is a catalyst. I do see positive changes, but there are a lot of people across the board that are still going to need help. And that is something that's coming through very strongly here today. Very, very strongly. There are some of you, okay, so I'm going to say this. Those of you, this is where the wheel, like my God is showing me the cycle, the wheel of life, or the wheel in the tarot is coming into play here. So those of you who have struggled to find work, you are going to find work. You're going to have a job. And you're going to have an increase in finances and financial blessings. The wheel is going to turn in your favor. So what's been down, if you've been down, you're going to go up, okay? And those of you who've had, maybe a consistent job, or you've had maybe a lot of blessings, you may have, you're maybe on top. You might have some sort of reversals where you get down to a 0 point, or you may have a job, but again, you might go down to the 0 point because for whatever reason, gas prices are so high, inflation is so high, and you can't really make do with what you've got. So again, what is up will go down, what is down will come up. That's what I'm seeing with the wheel. For many people that are watching, I'm not saying this is going to be for everyone. There are some people that are always going to have something a little bit set aside. And that's totally fine. I'm not necessarily reading for those people. Like I see it for some people that have a healthy bank account. I want to make everybody aware that everybody's situation is different, in the sense that some people may have that, and that's a financial blessing, and some people might not have as much. I'm just seeing what I see in the cards here. And given the fact that there's this situation with inflation right now, and it's affecting everybody, I want everybody to be really aware, and I'm very much aware that helping others and having a good heart is a message that's coming through here. And surrendering, like if you're at a 0 point, realizing that you are no longer going to be at a 0 point in your future. Yes, you may have been at a 0 point in your past, but you're no longer going to be at a 0 point in your future, because you're, like I said, you're on the wheel. The wheel is going to spin, and your fortune is going to turn for the better. You know, there may be a lot of things that are triggering for you at this time too. Some of you may be very sensitive at this time to a lot of things. You may be very emotional at this time. I did see that in one of my other readings. Whether you have any water in your chart or not, you might just be very emotional. There just may be a lot of stuff that's coming up for you. Whether it's, you know, conversation with family, or whether this is just part of like the awakening, or this is, you know, there's just a lot of emotion I'm seeing too. So, you know, be, you know, conscious of that this could happen and that it's not bad. To me, I don't see this being bad. I see this as being you kind of releasing a lot. Again, it's like a purging. It's like a releasing of energy. I think I'm going to end here. Let me just check my live chat. I haven't seen any messages. Shraddha, thank you so much for saying hi. I appreciate it so much. Yeah, I'm going to leave off here. Thank you guys again for being amazing fans and followers. I do want to create some shorter videos that, you know, I intend to post, so keep an eye out for those. If there's anything that you guys want me to record, you know, talk about, any discussions you want me to talk about, please, you know, put them in the comments. And all donations, like I said, please send those through PayPal. And I'm no longer, because I'm no longer really accepting Cash App. If you've sent me a donation, let's just say in the past via Cash App, that would be fine. But anybody new that has never sent me a donation before through Cash App, please send a donation through PayPal. That's really where I'm at. All private readings are also going through PayPal too, those of you who missed that. So if you'd like to schedule a private reading, I have some time a little bit later today to do a private reading, and tomorrow. Anybody who wants to do that can send a payment through PayPal, and then email me, and then we can schedule a good time. So that's all for now. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it so much. I send everyone big hugs, big kisses. And I'll talk to you guys again soon. All right, take care. All the best. Bye.